Yeah. So, welcome back to this new class, the beginning class, and it's a little bit rainy, but in that sense, it is good because we need this type of weather to meditate. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Little. So I thought during the intention during these 14, 15 weeks essentially is that we cultivate a kind heart, which is the bodhicitta. And we need such a kind heart in the context of this life. So looking at the method so that such a unconditional kind heart can be born and that which is produced does not degenerate, I'd thought to go through the 6 perfections, the 6 paramitas. And in the context of this life, that kind-hearted approach is very important, indispensable, essentially. We all need well-being. We all need well-being, and we need its best method. In general, there are many methods to cultivate kind heart, but if I think about it, I think this is the supreme of methods. Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah. Right.
두수 상무 못하는 초스케요 말했어. 두수 상무 합산다. 인지 당 쉐러 당 계시실 신빙 상가서 보면 어떻게 되네. 규제 mongo yoga nange 어디 규제 저절로 되네. 총알에서 이제 중요한 상황 레벨을 좀 총알에 되지. 이직에서 시작하고 뭐 민망고 아저다 다 레라면 이거래 액션은 이거래 좋아.
Mhm.
어디를 되는 내단으로 찾아서 그래서 내단으로 말해주는 세워하고 그래서
Yeah, yeah. So then the question comes, why do we need to cultivate a sense of well-being? It is that we see particularly at this time, our world is troubled. In a sense, the elements, the external elements are really shaken up. We can see that if we just look at the world news, in countries and so forth. Well, a lot of such problems are human-made. And although we may approach things with a good intention, if we don't have the correct wisdom behind them, the correct compassion, or what's called a laksam, the superior intention or altruism, then within the context of the community, the family, and then in a broader sense, in the context of the country, things might not come to pass as we had wished. So this is all coming back to the fact that the problems we're experiencing is not just from one person. It is the result of many causes and conditions, COVID and so forth. And the news of the world, you can see that. You can see the negative conditions when you look at the news. But to some extent, it's not so good to go down that path. Don't just look at the news. It would be better to try and cultivate an altruism, a wisdom, a great compassion, and then understand that the adverse things we're experiencing, there are a lot of causes and conditions behind that. It's not just one person that is making that happen. It is a result of karma. It is a result of conditions. So when you see the real situation of the world, when you understand the real causes behind it, is useful.
먼저 제가 계시주디 나눠서 토해나면 아니 수수쌤이 시간이 아토미나 다게 디고스다.
So then, what's paramount? What's most important? If you yourself can abide in mental peace, that's fine. That's it.
쌤 수수쌤 시간이나 아니 지로 남시 야구유나 누자에 제게요 뭐래. 안데 주 야구도 보내 누자 보내 계속해요 뭐래. 수수 당고디 수수쌤 전 두고만 했어. 근데 야니 눈이 가르쳐버리네. 쌤 두고만 수수쌤 시와데 수수 냐도고요.
Yeah. In that sense, then, if your mind is pacified, subdued, then whatever the weather is doing, be it good or bad, you remain peaceful. Whatever conditions coming up, good or bad, you remain peaceful. You're not so much swayed by these external things. So then the big question comes, what is the cause of mental peace? Yeah. If we were to ask if one can buy such mental peace in a supermarket or from a scientific approach, although we're able to go to the moon and scientifically produce antidotes to disease, is that enough knowledge to act for mental peace?
된다로 전에요 맞다디 나랑도 저랑도 같이 이제 ting그래다 다시 내려러다 이제 가서 그래 미신다 그지 바와의 니로지게 알아 힐링이네 지금 제서도 힐링 지다요 하시요 말 스스스 힐링 지기를
Yeah, let him.
미신다 힐링 지다요 말인데
So that mental peace and well-being has to come from one's own effort, tremendous effort. If you want the result, oneself has to do the work. You might think when you go and see someone, you can get some kind of power or energy or healing from them. It's not really like that. Yeah.
왜 동네 차에 미스 라스도 다 저랑도 동네 샤크로 체제 봐서 저랑도 상만 레벨나 있는 레벨대로 바트에서는 이거로 뒤에 지야 셈이 강에 동네 이게 바트에 이게 요마에서 봐. 다 니지 도보신가 다 말한 줄 도보 이제 되게 저랑 트랜스포지션으로 체제 봐. 만우야로 이게 요마에서 이게 요마에서 이제 요마에서 당에 저랑도 답이 갈 수는 게 말한 생계 시대 타고 타게 안데 탑랑게 탑랑게 이게 저랑 말 탑랑게 떼셔야겠어. 뭐 대냐면 지게 있나 아니 용그래서다 좀 내데 랍자들 내지 겨요. 다디 따다 레데 따다 레데
So what was Lord Buddha's advice around this? You may have heard of Lord Buddha. In that sense, he said that, I myself have reached that final potential of mind, the awakened state, but I cannot, wash away your sins like a shower, like taking a bath. I cannot do that. And secondly, I cannot remove the suffering that you're going through as if you would have some kind of operation related to your brain. I cannot remove that either. Thirdly, I cannot transfer the insights of the awakened mind that I have gained to you. Fourthly, what I can do is show you the method so that you yourself can cultivate that final peace. And if you practice such a method, there's no doubt you will reach that. So it would be a mistake if you looked at all the Buddhist deities and kind of thought, oh, well, if I pray to them, my problems will be gone or I'll reach enlightenment. Well, that's completely in contradiction to what Buddha said. Mm-hmm. So then, in that sense, such a method is that altruistic concern for others, the kind-hearted approach, let's say the beneficial intention, and that's the method. That's really the method for final mental well-being on the one hand, and secondly, so that your mind never gets upset. So within that context, cultivating such a bodhicitta, an awakening thought, must have wisdom as its support. The wisdom, the prajna, we will come to later on in the course. But today I'd like to begin by, okay, so what is the method for cultivating the concern for all beings, the bodhicitta, so that it's produced and it doesn't degenerate?
다 당고 딜린디 또 주시도 당용 다 당고딜라 스마스마셰라 당용셰 당용 당용디고 다레 둔다지도 당용디고 본디아체로
Beginning then, we have to cultivate an attitude of equanimity, an equal attitude to all beings, if we want to cultivate kindness to them. So this week we should observe that.
다 당용셰지 이니 계정모시지 차기요레 만원도 먼저 셈에야 한다 시디당 시디메가 당 아니 미망고지거다 그래서 그래지 단대 주제들 stress 당 anxiety 당 depression 당 이런 망고시지 예제 링도 알아
Um,
셈 셈이 강에 뭐서 더 보시지 차는 거 와서 봐
Equanimity is very important. Why? Why does the mind have no peace? Why is there no mental peace? Why is there stress, anxiety, depression? Particularly in this time.
그다음 저 셈나래 예제 망고시죠다 여체비도 이 딩아 딩에 이코이죠 네 디 당한도 딩한도 최치니 딩한도 최마치니
A lot of
딩한도 샤산니 샤마스니 디비겐마 당한도 디 백신 윤요 면요로 다른데 강에 그래도 디비전 체다 강에 연구도 아니 딩한도 포리 딩한도 호모레 딩한도 샤죠 딩한도 늦죠 딩한도 미카오레 디 나고레 점블링이 녀프라 망고 저런 커넥션도 따다 연제죠 여와체 상담세 이나는 이콘들 이야를 게 말해
yeah.
당뇨맨 아니 여와체 상담도 줘라 아니 남미직내리나 딩아 사야래 당 남미직나라에 수산나사 수 가르치나 제 코베드 필리체나 가강에 영어로 딩에링 아 스페셜리 딩아 말해지 남미직나라에나 아니 여와체네 샤나 타자선 뭐 샤지도 어려워요
Yeah. So problems come because of a lack of equanimity, because the mind is always discriminating, discerning. This is mine, this is theirs. So and so is a Dharma practitioner or they're not. Someone eats meat, they don't eat meat. They're a vegan, they're not a vegan. They're vaccinated, they're not vaccinated. These judgments going on and on. They're female, they're male, they're white, they're black, they're east, they're west. You check up, all of the problems in the world are coming from such borders we make in our mind. This is good, this is bad. These are all signs of no equanimity we have to be aware of. And even within the family situation, when people cling strongly to, I like this one, it's special, it's only for me type thing. It's the same thing too.
아니 제도까지 영영마 먼저 기증나래야 보다주는 쓰마이 라인바 아직 딩에 스페셜 딩에 그죠 소식 사 나는 샤르바지 기증나라 데데처는 맞아 내 제도 가셔야 나는 기증 데데 사야르다다 아니 사야는 미스 기증나는데 사동 로라 되는 용도 시다 내 주지에 미도세 내 스페셜 아무 미미도 저 가래래라 이제다가 니헤드 가리는 기증나는 연은 땅을 쌓아야 또 이제 되더라고 개문다라 이상해 이마다 뭐데 그리가다 오다 기증 디나라 보다 주는 소마야 맞지 chen 그런 거야 뭐 나직나시 거르지나 양 카시 지도 딩아직 투딩에 스페셜은 나가 체주 스스 나가 체주 다다 어딘데 용도 이런도 제도 가시 나는데 요래 미래를 복스래 사생이야 근데 아직이라 제가 알레 다 그즈다 무슨 더 이제 간대더라
And even this attitude of discriminating can come into places like a Dharma center, in the kitchen situation where everyone wants to have their own food. And, like my juice. This is my juice. And they put a label on it, kind of like, don't touch my juice. And then it becomes really troublesome. In reality, when I first came here, I thought would be nice because it's a kitchen, a collective kitchen. Why can't we just share what's in there? And if something is special to you, by all means, take it to your room. But don't make a pushy attitude by having to put a label on it saying, this is my so-and-so.
I can't say I would be send that name. I will be some send that. I usually sharing, doesn't matter, And when they're doing an open preach, And then looks so next Tuesday, doing it next day. One number. Oh, man, Tuesday is this way. How was it doing? So that I doing it. And the other member is getting but oh, you don't do that. This is terrible. A very funny feeling that time, And in monastery, are very open that, if someone coming, what they want to eat, drink, take, doesn't matter, just be very relaxed. There isn't any Tuesday, we have holiday in monastery. And my room, 10, 15 monks, all this coming with those tea party. Yeah,
Yeah, it is like one should think that we're all one family. Don't make very strong, solid border. Laril. Okay. Okay. The bodhisattvas, the practitioners, if only we had this heart of equanimity to all beings, leave alone all other things, that would be so great. It is said that the bodhisattvas, the great practitioners, don't even cling to the path, can't even cling to the path, the very method they use. So therefore, it is best to leave it. So for example, if you are going from Picton to Wellington on the ferry, when you get to your destination, Wellington, you have to leave the boat behind. If you're clinging too much to the ferry, you never arrive in Wellington. Because you go round and round in the ocean. So just like that, the practitioners, the bodhisattvas, when they cultivate the wisdom, when they cultivate the compassion, they don't cling to their method in and of itself. Once they reach the Buddhahood state, that is gone. So it's the same with us in terms of equanimity. We should not be doing strong discriminations. This is good, this is bad. I like this, I don't like that. Then the question comes then, how does one cultivate and practice such an equanimity?
마디를 가게 메스 아니 딩아게다 가와도 마가와 닝게게 발마데레스다 발메신지로 데레스다 만도 만차라지 예와디 요레스로 심나나 상담지 요레스다 근데
Well, it would be good to begin cultivating equanimity with those around you. That's best, the people that are close to you, because we make those demarcations, don't we? Like, I like such and such a person, I don't like another one, or thirdly, I'm neutral to that third person. Those kind of things we make all the time.
Number one, don't keep complaining to other people, right? So never ever keep complaining. People, your loved one, your really loved one, and they're making you happy, If you're happy, your really loved one, they're happy. Doesn't matter, right? This group, your loved one, makes you happy, Or if you're happy, your loved one so happy. And you're very challenged person, group. This is your best teacher. You're learning. Right. The 두부당 욕을 써지니지. 감는데 뭐 그건 기계 문제들이 따라와.
Yeah.
하는 거서 experience 냠용제 그것은 자야도. 망부 자야도.
Okay. So that second group, the person that gets on your case, the troublemaker, that's really the teacher, because in dependence on such a person, you can gain experience and train your mind.
Sometimes our center has sometimes people very close negative. At that time, our practice become more stronger. We need more effort. What is the challenge there, Those people are gone, our practice will never go down. And so which coming back, those people. And a little bit of those people gone out, and my back a little bit worried, a little bit silly. Those people coming back, my practice become a little bit, stronger. How benefit is it? Huge benefit. Right? Then, especially our stranger, stranger.
Yes, the neutral one, the stranger.
Stranger. I think any more serious problem if you have, those people are helping us. You're driving car, accident, who's helping you? Ambulance. This is your stranger. If you're serious sick, where you go? Hospital. Doctor, nurse is your stranger. If you want hungry, you want to go to a restaurant. This is all your stranger.
We are dependent on, when we really go through difficulties, we are dependent on those people, those kind of strangers. There's no one to point, there's no one to complain to then, no? All in that light are beneficial to oneself. Right, so straight away there, you've got that point of equanimity. So that mind in equipoise, equanimity, what is it? We have that naturally abiding within us, but we have not recognized. Yeah, we have many instances of such an equanimity. In that sense, one doesn't need to meditate to get it. It is already within. The point here is that one has to introduce or recognize that equanimity. Now, that process of recognizing what you have within, the method of that is meditation, except for meditating, you won't recognize that nature. Yeah. Some of you are new to the Sunday class. Some have been here quite a bit before. But what should be known is we need to cultivate a steady practice every day, sitting.
Meditation is our mind food. Our mind so hungry. You're very fitting, good fitting for your body. You know, if you're in this stomach, you need eat supper and breakfast, lunch, dinner every day. Three, four times eating something. You know, we never fitting our mind. Our mind is so hungry. Meditation is your mind food. And then your mind is more feel stronger energy or power, and then walking better. Similar,
If there's no food for the mind becomes exhausted. Then, in that sense, one has to become habituated to make meditation a habit. Best case, you meditate in the morning, or best time. First, we should set about cultivating a daily practice from morning to night. First, we need to set the correct intention, the motivation. And when you cultivate such a motivation, gently closing the eyes, you'll get a more powerful resolve. The thought that from today, all of the actions of my body, speech, and mind, physical, verbal, and mental, will be for helping others, just to help others, to benefit them. Now think that kind heart is at the level of your heart and the nature of white light.
semba sango semba ran shiruesa versa guru ran shindi nezu yani 돈이 가르쳐 보이는 semdi tohumi sambe tamja tembuchi shosro
That potency of kind heart and the nature of light, whatever comes up in one's life, good or bad, make the strong resolve not to give it up, not to relinquish it.
와야다 가와고 말한 주제 된데 semba sango mise nyuga saba ji semna ye angara zo luwin ngwe na semba saba ta tene ngara ju sem saba ye ta kyewa saba le na ji chungdong gawa gong sta
Now rejoice, thinking that today especially one has cultivated such an attitude of kindness. In this old body, one has generated a fresh mind, like you have a new birth.
와야다 뭐 롱종이다 와 롱종 니 kyewa de zhongguo de ta chang mancha gom subuyago degido kyewa de su zhongguo de hawa de gubja gan de yin zu ne kyewa su zhongguo de wo ta ge lo shi de ma es wa kyewa su zhongguo de ani na wo ni ne u de u ya ren go stan u ren su dang xie ba chi dang u su ji tan lo na u pa tan lo u ren ji su u chung su ra la long jong 어디 말다 yes.
Now training the breath or breathing exercise. Firstly, the posture should be straight. And most of you have a good posture, but those in the seat, make sure that, again, the posture is upright. Now we're going to focus on the breath. As the breath comes in the nostrils and we exhale as it goes out of the nostrils, one should think, oh, now I'm breathing in. Now I'm breathing out. And just be aware of that.
Dine to Dampa, Dam Sheba, Sheba, and the Kadula, Uktunga de Danta, the Jilla. Uktunga de Sheba, Sheba Jilla, and Tamba General, Tamba to Dampa, to Dampa, Ni, Sumja. Long time chat, the Kaladi. Sim Tadao, the Hawa. Yeah. Sim Dam, the Yingu, the Kaya, the Presidential Mare. Nine, the Casor. Now, Tangama, what do you say?
Isum Chera.
Tangama, what do you say? That's the name, the Sim Tadao, the Ganasha. And it, young Sim Yingu, Sim Yu, Sim Nadam, and Tana. The Kaya, the Presidential Mare, who the Tanga Jews, Jucheva, Jusava Jig. Julius Nana, Junima, Jigsaw. Although the Tambo, Utunga,
Wasn't it?
Larilla.
Larilla. So now we're going to again be aware of the breath, but this time more natural, just shorter breaths or more shallow. So you're going to just recognize that. And once you have stability of recognition of breath, begin to count the cycles. So now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. That's one cycle. Now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. That's two cycles. Now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. That's three cycles. You do 3 of those cycles, or 9 rounds. At the end of those 9 rounds, you break and you place the mind in the peace of the present moment. If again, you notice the mind is discursed or a lot of mental constructs, don't push yourself to stop those thoughts, but resume counting the cycles of breath. This time, 3 cycles of 5. So breathing in, breathing out 5 times. Do 3 cycles of that. Then again, observe the mind, or place the mind in the present moment, the peace of the present moment. And again, if there are discursive thoughts, count up to 10, and then back down to 1, and then again observe. Try not to push stopping thought. Now, when we're doing this, counting the breath, gently open the eyes, don't close them. Yeah. So the head tilted slightly forward with the eyes on the bridge of the nose. Okay, so the body should be relaxed. And so that you're just riding the breath, but not too relaxed.
우타게 참셔로 아니 그래서 이신해요. 그래서 우타게 참셔 꼭 가르고도 디제스 따제니 우츠 수분나가 주 팀들이 미세는 거사들이 레서 파단들이 아니 수분 지 마데오로 그래서 파 그게 별로 수분 흘러 차서
Now, leaving aside counting the cycles of breath, just be aware of the breath pervading the body. So mind follow breath. And as the breath dissolves in the body, be aware of a potency or well-being of body so that the body is relaxed. So one can visualize with inhalation the breath filling the head, for example, and then the shoulders, the torso, and as you breathe in and dissolve the breath there, any defects of the body are dispelled and you're relaxed. Yeah. Yeah. After meditating continually, one can feel the breath dissolve in the body, pervade the whole body, and that kind heart of bodhicitta and the nature of white light that we visualized before, place the mind there.
아니 진짜 쌤이다. 말하는데 단다 기후이 있어. 그래 가서 단다 강바디나 말하는 상관은 강해요 말이야. 다다 아 강바디마 더 사서는 주지 제가 하고 말이야. 단다 아마 아마 순주 상황에 지금 가서 배교를 되는 땅이 제요 말이야. 그래서 이 단다 쌤 기후 시와 이마다 단다 강에 매워 이거 하고
That very mind that you're recognizing is happy. In this building, everything is fine. There's contentment. I don't know about after 11:30, but but for this 45 minutes, the mind is at peace, and just recognizing that, no worries.
다 대외 내주스 담을 경우는 타로 오늘 요단 요물 잘 봐서 마음만에 단단 연결이 주지 주지 제가 서로 대대요 주지 제가 서로 대대요 얘들은 가 집으로 와 집으로 와 오늘 와 강의도 와 하다 와 강의 문에서 요마로 수선생이 대외 내주는 것들 수행 타타로 요단도 요 말에 그때라 도 말에 상은 안 담으면 다다 이게 뭐라는 지가 다는 말한 셈이 쉬워 때문에 말한데 오늘 저희 단답답게 기월에 강의미도 좋아 이게 말 강반이도 나관이도 단답 범죄를 주저리라도 근데 뭐 주저 한때 야고 있는 참 야고 내가 야고 있는 거 이거 신나 이거 와요 뭐야
Really, it is that mind abiding in the present moment, isn't it? The past is gone. The future, 11:30, is yet to come. So there's no difficulties in the present moment. The past, we cannot revolve that. We can't change that. Don't go there. The future is yet to come. The mind is in the nature of like a clear light. And just think, so happy. You have 2 hands, 2 feet. You have the opportunity to meditate. Here, you recognize good as good.
단답 주저 단답 단답 먼저 공개하시면 되는 미가시 미가나 샤주시 미가시 칼라면 미가시 돌로면 돼요 근데 두루파 샤시고 그 담블링은 미가시에서 너 동원한데 미가시 강의 담대 저는 만들어 강의 팀도 기울여도 팀도
Just this time we are meditating. We are not in hospital being operated upon. We're not in the situation where we don't have anything to wear, let alone the animals, the humans in this world. Some are suffering in prison, some have mental upset.
뭐야 다지 쇼베게 따면서 곰 구멍시러 이게 들어가다 저랑서 꿀롱 곰게 쇼베 저랑서 다 싸워가지고 와 쇼베 까마 꿀롱은 까마니 숨 잡는 되게 까마니 숨 숨지 잡는 되게 이제 비딩 엑서사이즈 때문에 저와 쉬어요나 까마 숨 잡는 되게 저시라면 까마 가 되게 와 아니면 이제 비딩 메디테이션 장가져야 되고 까마 숨 까마 가 걔네 디자이어스 그라서 sen 우커 또 다지 배우고요. 일단 수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수수 근데 내스 지금 쌤 자다와디가 샤 타마 튜 타마들라 쌤 어그란지 쌤마상고 지금 어지 쌤상고 왜 전화들한테 쌤상고 저 튜 타마들라 잖아 아까마 저 타고 쉬어요나 저거 까마 주 까마 숨숨 저 사람은 까마 정화 봐 까마 정화다 까마 정화다 야도라라 주는 유시다 신나니 까마 정화다 저거 베르 파스 쌤 레테나
Yeah. So then, in the context of the morning meditation, we need to have this foundation of motivation first, the new, setting the mind afresh. And then for 1, 2, or 3 minutes to begin observing the breath. And then once one has started observing the mind or observing the breath, you can then do a breathing exercise for 3 minutes, or if you've got more time, 5 minutes. And when you're settled, begin to count the cycles. Again, 5 minutes, 3 or 5 minutes. And then finally, watching where the breath goes in the body, where it dissolves, and then placing the mind in the present moment. Finally, being aware of the mind being in the nature of light at the level of the heart. So if you're busy in the morning, these three kind of divisions or four, you might need 10 minutes, but if you have more time, 15 minutes, we can find that within the context of 24 hours, can't we? Before breakfast, how long it take to eat breakfast?
This is your mindfulness. It is free, nothing costs. And also, happiness is free. Right? 이게 free. Free 제단 믿을 때 룰티기 말해.
The mental well-being is free, but people don't put value on it. Yeah, you want some kind of proof or written thing, is it?
어디로 다 제단 네 시름 공개하지. 나한테 다리 준비해야 되나 거. 네, 또 저는 당용 공개하러.
Now, that is something about cultivating a daily practice in order, but our other reflection was equanimity, wasn't it, for this week? Hearing altruism, hearing kind heart is easy by words, but not easy to practice. You guys all know the words, but to practice it is not easy. So, in that context, one has to think on causality. What would the reasons be behind cultivating kind heart? With no method, without contemplating the reasons of method, then the kind heart cannot come to be. It is said that for every result prior to that is cause and condition. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
편지기 미배 사야사야게 동에서보다 김산나는 미지기야 수준은 상마 독시하기도 먼저 추선하는 야 미카셰 직 레넌이 배시어 차도도 미카셰 레넌이 푸르고더라 다디 가와이나래 최소지고 말해 다 속보탕면나 김산직나래 다라래 저나저 저기 부부 아마 빠도 하고 봐봐는 부부 내 파마도 이제 라고도 부부 대기도 나가 빼 야고 좀 부부 대기도 짬마시고 뭐 쉬어야
Alle drama där va?
this is another energy of the energy launch and Padia Middle Sanama Koi Hawa the Kiyomudo, the Kari Water. The Ramji did in the chunk.
In that context, then, of the source of problems that we experience, it's good to reflect. We need a mind of equanimity. Remember then, if you can have this attitude of concern for others at the level of your heart and the nature of white light, there's no discernments going, oh, this is good, this is bad, so-and-so good, so-and-so's bad, by way of complaint. Whereas, and in that context, if we think of the advice in the mind training, to banish all blames to one, firstly, and secondly, to meditate on the great kindness of all other living beings. What we come to see is that all of the problems we're going through are a result of self-interest, firstly, and ego clinging, secondly. The problems in the world are coming about because of this I win, you lose attitude. Or my country is the best, my country gains and yours loses. Be that in the area of land, oil, or water. These divisions, or even that a country wants to become powerful. Well, ultimately, if a country or a particular power owns the whole world, so what? What kind of Dharma is that? What are you going to do with it? There's a saying that from Shantideva that says that although beings do not want to suffer, they rush towards suffering by creating the causes. And although they want to be happy, like an enemy, they destroy the causes of their own happiness. It's true, isn't it? The political leaders, they want self and other to be happy, but because of their actions, often self and others don't end up being happy. And although they don't want to suffer, they rush to create the causes for more suffering. Well, in the context of the family, the country, the society, there is like a power or a merit there that we bring. Even in the context of the parents and children, like even my parents would say, oh, with such and such a child, the experience is good, or with such and such a child, the experience is less so. So you talk about a kind of energy or merit that you bring in. This is karma. This is like whether the self-interest is great or small. Rang Chenzen. But if you cultivate uncontrived concern for others, there's no fixation on I all the time. Not at all. Yeah. Yeah. Those pronouns then? The first one, I, slowly diminishing that, and those ones you use for second and third person. like ours and we and so forth. Maybe slowly increasing those together.
Sometimes, cooking 3, 4 people, and some they very good meal, good chef,
Yeah.
coming, and then someone say I made, and they very funny tricky. You can do all can take. They saw 3, 4 people cooking together, and some of the food is taste amazing. And so I cook. Some of the food terrible. Nobody say I cook. No one say I cook. Oh, he cook. Clear sure there. I did it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a sign that this self-importance is coming up. Here, however, from today, putting others before self, or others more important. If one can have that attitude, that's the beginning of well-being in this life. Yeah. So from today, having that concern for humans, that warmth, well, easy in terms of words, but we have to practice. Before you get your own cup of tea, the people in your family, hey, would you like a cuppa? You begin from that.
When I was young, my grandma taught me. First keep other people, not put your cup. Your cup is last. Sometimes I worry, they're all gone. What going on for me? 미드저디 나나시 대화데 동해 미드로 찍바 와. 한 바바도 당한도 개주주 땅에 갑자기나라고 나라에 상무데 당겨요. 이 수수예는 이 수수라 팬더 전부 거진 전부이로 미디 다 수수 튀러 가지고 십진저 교환 통보도 이 교환하야 배전 맛이 수수 좋고 동모 부부 교환 통보라 랑산 교환하야 배전 추는 맛이 이 와야 말이 교환 수수 땅 수수 상상 교환 수수 땅 수수 교환 땅다 니 교환 태양 거야 어디래 남배 기다려 때래
Saying something about the Buddhist view. So, firstly, that other person with you wants to be happy just like you, doesn't want to suffer just like you. Secondly, as I often remind those beings to your left and right, how kind they are to you. It is so easy to see their faults. But try not to fixate on their faults. Moreover, change them. The Buddhist view is to change your own mind first, to change your mental attitude first. Without a change of self, how could one possibly bring about a change in others? Even in the context of what I'm sharing here, the notion that within Dharma to be kind, or sharing in terms of the giving of charity, I do that because I'm not like wanting to force you to change. That's a hopeless kind of attitude.
是，这样子，是我们叫什么上过去，是吧？당부거나래갈라단잘쓰고있는저런 중빈배, 저런 사기인배, 와? 밤이 비저도 개차되다. 다그러면 누구튼 거, 누구튼, 다그러면 뱀이 시켜야 된다.
On an individual level, you meditate, you cultivate kindness. When you eat or drink, oh, would you like something to eat or drink? You offer to others first. Straight away there's a potency.
이제 제 다들 들려야 당용 뭐야, 수수 칠레 이 나라다 찍고요. 대화도 찍고, 우리도 찍고, 수수 가ling 참여는 찍고. 어떻게 상담하는데? 네, 쌤 찬양고. 그래도 지금 뭐지 가외만 실제 콘서트 많이 봐. 그 밤에 쌤이 공예 당기시에 봐. 그 당용 쌤 먹고요. 어, 예. 그런데 좋아요는 좋으면은 좀 있어.
Now, then, in cultivating that equanimity during the week, remembering that all beings equally want to be happy and do not want to suffer. And secondly, they've just been kind to oneself, equally kind in that regard. And it would be counterproductive to develop too much attachment or too much aversion to anyone. No extreme. I'd like to leave it there. If there are questions, we'll take them. If not, we can meditate.
좋아요.
Any question?
나 처음에는 그 당용분이라고 당용분 당기게 당용은 지금 열을 라인 봐. 다 당용 컨텐츠 열을 라인에 하나도 당고 비디에서 찍듯이 그러면서 나도 비나가 그러면서 사바도 저희는 아상 다신 데래가 마 당무통은 소화 가르쳤다 들어 가야요 두야요 천년 어디 당용
Okay.
그러면서 나통 망부타면이 남이시다든지 비나 사바도 가지고는 믹스 따라 진남 직샷 기내가 소화 가르쳤다 가외 숙제요 말 누구예요 말 사바 쉬워져 어디 당용이다 어디 당용 빼만 뭐야
That cultivating that mind of equanimity, we already have it within ourselves, inside. So, cultivating that attitude. So, for those of you that are new, when you see me for the first time, you are not thinking either way, kind of like good or bad, making these discernments. And for the old students that are accustomed to being here, when you see the new people come into the building, you don't have a particular attachment or aversion to them, checking your feelings. We have that. It is within us, that neutrality. So now we're going to sit. We should sit. First, focusing the mind with the breath, then doing 5 rounds, 5 inhalations, 5 exhalations, and then recalling that person you saw on the road. What was your attitude to them? Place the mind there. The stranger.
당뇨 셈지나 어떻게 다디 망고요랑 좀 봐. 당뇨 셈지 망고요 셈바시와 야 파마 마차시도 어디 셈지 하고지.
That mind of equanimity, we have it a lot, many aspects, where the mind is neither too elated or too down. Just recognize that.
다디네 좋나? 네. 주주 마가베 미지 야세다. 미들 같이니까 비요 말이야. 준비지 하고 제가
Once you have settled your mind in that state of neutrality, equanimity, can you recall a person you feel aversion towards? Why do you not like them?
아, 나는 내가 끼워. 나는 마가와 제가. 나는 마지막서 와. 양 수수 가서라고 지는 내가 끼워. 이면은 민님 중에 뜻도 당하러 되고 이제 가문다로 와.
Mm.
너 이제 금제 데려와다. 금제 이제 내가 끼워 금제 때문에 너가 비어 말아.
Recalling that, oh, so and so harmed me, they upset me, or even the loved one, they upset me and so forth. That's the reason for your aversion.
나한테 수수 양미 가셈이지 와. 야 삼다. 아미네 같이니까 그래.
Yeah.
펜토. 양에 비야 펜토. 양에 다른 내가 제나 가도.
Yeah.
어디 김진대로 한 펜더비 김진이다. 무슨 교수님 펜더비 김진이니까 무슨 김진네 내가 제가 김진이 막아서 제거도 하다.
Yeah. So then thinking about a close person, the one that's close to you, a dear one, why is your attitude to them like that? Because they helped you or they helped your relatives. So straight away here, we have two. One in the fact that someone may have harmed you, one in the fact that someone may have helped you. Far and close.
김진이나 당연히 가서 펜더니 미디 양 알아 내가 제가 알아서 따라와. 당고 아니 저거 정말 제일 마찬가지 제일 막아고 자기도
Mm-hmm.
아니야 제일 미 막아오지 야 제일은 참고 차려다 내가 여왕아지 계속 마셔야 되와 여왕아 채다가 나라 근데 가라서 냠뇨 근데 용도도 와 다가랑 게다 팬더베 김생기 가고 내가 이제 미치클라 김생인가 용도도 와 뉴다 땅 아들 가고 요래 너 막아오지 그래 말해 땅 용대 찬양 샤 지구지 냐샤 여왕도 당기 밤에 심지어 다 찍버렸어 팬도 하나 더냐 내가 이제는 개념 비셔 심 찬양 보고 그래서 막 문제 상담도
Using those two reasons then, the helper has helped you, has also harmed you. And we can see that because friends come together and they split, but then they can get together again. So those who you are adverse to can become close as well. So leave alone past lives. We can see how this works in the context of this very life, the benefit and harm. And when you use these reasons of, those that have benefited you, those that have harmed you, how it can change, how it's not always the case, when you take that right across the board for all beings, then equanimity.
한마디로 이제 수술을 팬도시에 내가 이제 때문에 신은 팬토여로
You talk about someone that's helped you, but really the ones who harm you are helping you, no?
하루 팬토로서는 수술 그냥 당기시에 뭐 내가 이제 수술 로존시에 표초진 냠내진이 냠내 안 로존 냠뇨 로존 뒤가 내가 이제 되고 안 세ven 냠는 공고를
Patience.
아니 인지 보면요 그 예코이나 뭐에는 쌤 촉제 밀는 내가 이제 그러면 쌤뭐 간이 밀는 내가 이제 매워 봐 촉제도 배도 동해요 봐 근데 동해요래 제가 뭐 지어래 something 수들 데 동해 텐데 떠와래요 인지실래요 인지리고 저 연대 망고래서 수배냐면서 인지래서 아니 소소 experience 된대로 challenge 된대 이제 자꾸 자기로 쌤 자꾸 자기로 팬도로 right.
Here mind becomes firm. So then how is it that a harmer can help? As I mentioned earlier, really, if we are training spiritually, this person becomes a condition under which you change your mind to one of compassion. The person that is upset is not upset and suffering because they're happy. They're upset and suffering at you or whatever because they're going through difficulties. Here, what they're going through becomes a condition for your compassion for them, for patience, for compassion. It becomes a challenge, but also the conditions under which your mind becomes firm.
그래서 나 소소 디인들 장가라 소소 타고들이 이미 장가 소소 한도 친구 이래는 아는 거네 가들와 미들은 거네 쌤디네 가나 아니 제가 인지리 패미기 저리에서 미술에 저리에서 나도 샘버 투야기 규진캠도 하다.
And then in that context, those that are close or those that have harmed, you will only see how they have benefited you, and you will see them all as close. And in that sense, the real, what's the word, unconditional affection or great compassion arises. Now, when the unconditional compassion arises, the mind never gets upset, perturbed. Now, what the point here being made is that if you can recognize how that person has benefited you, closeness is there.
You love this person.
Yeah, you love them, you're close to them, affection. Yeah, and this week it is good to take such an attitude from experience and feeling in the context of life. And in terms of the conclusion, at the end of the day at night, you reflect back. If there were mistakes made, you recognize them and regret them. If the day has gone well, you rejoice and dedicate the day's actions. Yep.
so 시제 수수 빈자 투요 뭐 된데 강하다다 연습 게임도 다 있네. 근데 미카젤도 동네 쇼죠. 근데 아니 봐 영상 저거 용이야. 근데 뭐만 해요. 뭐 제조 얘는 마치 그 시스템으로.
I'm going to say a few verses in terms of dedication. Today, coming together, we have meditated and we've cultivated the aspirational kind heart. Tremendous virtues from that, thinking that from today I will have a beneficial intention towards others. Just cultivating that mind for one moment has tremendous merit, tremendous power. And then, in the context of that, we want to dedicate. We dedicate for the peace of the world, and that people get tissues. Sorry. We dedicate for the peace of. we dedicate for the peace of the world, that there's no contagious diseases, that the elements are in harmony, because the elements in this stage are not in harmony, that the contemporary COVID, whatever it is pacified, that we don't have to wear a mask, that we don't have to be vaccinated, that Omicron is pacified, whatever else is next is pacified. That but most important also the sentient beings in their minds physically and mentally, they have peace, well-being, they're not upset, but also that the leaders of the world, those with power, cultivate a good heart, those with wealth cultivate loving kindness and compassion. If their attitude is just I all the time, that would be difficult. There would be less hope. So then on top of that, we dedicate that those without medicine have medicine, those without clothes have clothes, those without food find food, and those without work find a job. And also there are beings that are going through difficulties like being separated from their loved ones. In my case, 20, 30 years, I did not see them. However, all of those beings, may they be reunited. So we dedicate the merit to that end with these verses.